Well, good morning, everyone. This is Teresa Lawson. I am a nurse and functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, and I'm coming to you today to talk with you a little bit about sweeteners. But before we begin, I want to introduce myself and share a little bit about my background. I've been a registered nurse since 1977. And when I first graduated nursing school, I worked in the field of medical surgical nursing in a hospital setting. Had 4 babies in the first 5 years of working part-time as a nurse. And over the years, I became discouraged with the whole medical model of, throw pills at people, put Band-Aids on their illnesses. And I started doing a lot of research on my own about nutrition and functional lifestyle and how those affect the human body. So for many years, I did a lot of reading, a lot of studying in between my homeschooling of my children. Having your children with you for 24 hours a day as you're homeschooling affords you the opportunity to work with them nutritionally quite a bit, and I realized that my children could not focus or organize their thoughts very well. We had a hard time when we started out homeschooling. Lots of ADD, ADHD. Perhaps you can relate to that issue. But the result of those struggles was this deep desire to help people, especially my own family, beginning with my own family, to help children, especially parents with children, help the parents to learn how to feed their children and provide a lifestyle for them that helps them to flourish and helps them to focus better when they're trying to do such tasks as reading and writing and math and all of those academic studies that we need to teach them. And so fast forward to the year of 2006, I entered menopause and lost my brain, could not focus, organize, or concentrate, and was having a lot of hot flashes and night sweats, and homeschooling my youngest 5 children. We have 11 children, and very frustrated. I could not organize my thoughts. I couldn't focus. I couldn't write lesson plans anymore. And the frustration that arose from that pushed me into a prayer for some more further understanding and help from the Lord, because I was struggling so much, did not want to stop my homeschooling, and yet I felt awful. I was mildly depressed and very anxious and having all these other symptoms of menopause. So I began to really ponder how I had spent all these years raising organic gardens. We live on a farm. I have my own chickens, so we have fresh eggs. We had beef steers at one time. My husband would, had them butchered. We put the meat in the freezer, so we knew what the meat was, where the meat was coming from, the quality of it. We belonged to a food co-op at that time for many years, and so we were doing all these heroic things. And yet, in 2006, I was dealing with menopause and all these health issues. And then at that time, we also had a teenage daughter with severe anxiety and depression, and a special needs son who was dealing with a lot of cognitive issues, developmental delays, a seizure disorder. And as a menopausal mom, no brain, I just felt like I could not cope. So the Lord blessed us with a superior nutritional supplement that really, really helped a great deal. I overcame my menopause issues within the first 2 months of using these products. And then I was able to feel better. I was able to focus. I was able to be a better wife, a better mother. And then I was able to deal with these health issues that we were experiencing with our children as well. And our special needs son went from only being able to say 3 words, he had severe speech delays, to full sentences in a matter of 8 to 10 months. Huge blessing. We also had great wonderful things happened with our teenage daughter. She, in 2 months, said she was feeling about 80% better with her anxiety and her depression. And as that was lifting, she was becoming more outgoing. She was willing and able to get out and about more with other people. She started taking classes at the junior college shortly thereafter, and she started to gain a lot of confidence. And today she's a parish secretary at a church near where she lives, and she has a 1-year-old little boy who's absolutely gorgeous, one of our 19 beautiful grandchildren, and she's happily married, and she's doing fabulous, just fabulous. I'm just so excited and grateful. But the best story is our special needs son, because not only did his speech explode in that first 8 to 10 months, but in addition to that, over a period of time, working with these products and with him and his health issues, he became seizure-free. And we were able to work nutritionally, tweak his diet even further than we already had, and he became medication-free in November of 2015. So now he's 18 years old. He still has some cognitive issues, but this guy is an amazing young man. He loves to work outdoors. He's a farm boy at heart, and he still has the cognitive delays. He probably always will have some. But he is able to do so much. He lifts weights. He plays basketball. He loves to work on our farm. Takes care of my chickens. Cleans the barn. Cuts the grass. He just bought himself a lawnmower recently. So we just are so happy with his progress. And the reason I share all this with you is because this background I've had has led me to where I am today. I have been working with this nutraceuticals company now for over 12 years, because these products made such a huge impact in our life. I have helped hundreds of people over the last 12 years to regain their health. And it has also pushed me into this desire to be able to work more in the functional nutrition realm and lifestyle realm, functional lifestyle realm. So I just recently became certified as a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner. And so I am now using those skills to meet with people one-on-one. I do client education. I dive very deeply into the history of each of my clients, going all the way back prenatally. So I take a client intake form with them and go very deep into their history, not only just their medical history, but we talk about a lot of different things, like, were you ever in a car accident? Were you ever exposed to parasites? Just a lot of things. Did you take antibiotics growing up? So those are a lot of the things that people don't realize are so important and impact our health so deeply. Now, today I want to talk about sweeteners, because there's a lot of misinformation about sweeteners out there, and a lot of that information is motivated by corporate interests. There's lots of money to be made, and people like sweeteners. I mean, in general, our bodies were made to like the taste of sweetness. When an infant is born, it is, of course, most infants are breastfed, hopefully, and breast milk is very sweet, and the infant is attracted to that lactose in the breast milk. That lactose is what makes it sweet. So right from the very beginning, we are programmed to like sweetness. But what's happened over the last couple of centuries is that the sweetness we have been provided with has shifted from being healthy sweetness coming from fruits and some of our vegetables. And now the sweetness has been shifted, and it's coming from really poor quality sweeteners. And we're going to talk just a little bit about that. So I want to talk about the inflammatory effects of sugar with you today because most people aren't aware, but sugar is highly inflammatory. See if I can get this to go to my next. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about the types of sweeteners. We have refined table sugar. Everybody's familiar with that. Most of our refined table sugar comes from beets, sugar beets, or corn, or sugar cane. And this is highly refined. It comes from GMO crops. GMO means genetically modified. And it contains no minerals or nutrients. And this is considered to be an anti-nutrient because it actually takes away from the nutrients in our body. Next, we have molasses, and there's two kinds of molasses. There's refined, which is lighter in color and has minerals removed, and that's the kind you might buy off the shelf at the store. Then we have blackstrap molasses, and that's made from the last pressing of the sugar cane. It has a very intense flavor and high mineral content, and especially high in iron. And then we have brown sugar. I'm going to move my cursor, move my picture up to the top. Oh, it's not cooperating with me. We have brown sugar, which is really white sugar with molasses added back into it. Most people aren't aware of that, but that's what brown sugar is. And then we have sucanat and cane juice. And you might have heard of sucanat before. It's an evaporated cane juice product. It's blended with molasses, mostly sucrose with fructose and dextrose. It looks like sand. It tastes like brown sugar, and it retains some vitamins and minerals. Then we have cane juice, which comes from sugar cane, and this has the minerals and vitamins and micronutrients retained in it. But the key word here is that it's unrefined. So you always want to, if you're going to use any kind of sugar from a sugarcane plant, make sure it's non-GMO and it's unrefined. So it's not going to be white. It's not going to be bleached. Next, we have grape juice concentrate and honey. And these are sweeteners we see used quite often, especially when you buy if you ever buy the juice concentrates, you will find these sweeteners in juice concentrates. There's grape juice concentrate, which contains few nutrients. And the problem is that this can contain many contaminants. Then we have honey, which is 60 to 70 times sweeter than sugar. Now, your raw honey has more nutrients than sugar, and it also contains fiber. And your refined honey is very low in nutrients. So always try to buy the raw honey. And if you're going to buy grape juice concentrate or any kind of fruit concentrate, read the label and make sure that it's organic because there's so many contaminants that can be in fruit concentrates when you get something that's not organic. Next, we have maple syrup and coconut sugar. Now, maple syrup is made from sap from maple trees. I have a little picture there for you to see up close what it looks like. They tap these little spigots into the side of the sugar maple tree, and they suspend a bucket underneath that, and then the sap drips into the bucket. Then they boil the sap down, and the time that it's harvested determines the color and the flavor of the syrup. Your organic syrup is really important because here again we can have contaminants. If you don't have organic syrup, we can have contaminants. Hold on for just a moment. I have to check something. Be right back. Okay, thanks for your patience. One of the things I love, I get to work from home. Okay, let's talk about coconut sugar. Coconut sugar comes from coconut blossoms. It is nectar. The nectar is heated, and then it's dried and caramelized, and then it's pulverized into a powder. Now, coconut sugar is low glycemic, and it contains fiber, minerals, and vitamins. And this replaces sugar 1-to-1. The ratio that you would use coconut sugar is the same as the ratio that you would use for sugar in your baking and your cooking. Next, we have brown rice syrup and agave. Now, brown rice syrup is a cooked ground brown rice, and then it's mixed with enzymes to form what's called maltose, which is a sugar. It's low glycemic, and it comes also in powdered form. And then agave, most of you have probably heard of agave. It's made from the juice of an agave cactus, and it has a natural high fructose content and a lower glycemic index. So that means it's not going to spike our blood sugar. The only drawback with agave is that it has to be digested by the liver, and it's very hard on our liver. So if you're going to use agave, just use it very sparingly. Next, we have stevia and xylitol. Now, stevia is taken from a plant, and it's non-telluric. It comes powdered or liquid. It's 300 times sweeter than sugar. So you don't need very much of it to accomplish what the sweetness in your food. But it can leave a bitter aftertaste for some people. I like the taste of stevia. I don't experience a bitter aftertaste with it. Some people do. So you just have to try it and see how your body responds to it. My husband's type 2 diabetic. He likes the stevia. He said there's no bitter aftertaste for him. I have a daughter. She's 22 years old. She does not like the stevia. She said to her, it tastes bitter. There's a bitter aftertaste. So you have to try it and see what you think. The only sweeteners we really use in our house are stevia and raw honey. My daughter is a baker. She loves to bake. My husband kind of encourages her not to bake too often because when it's in the house, then he'll eat it. With his type 2 diabetes, he really doesn't want it around. But when she does bake, she uses sugar, regular sugar. So that's the only time we really have sugar in our house. Then we can talk about xylitol a little bit. Now, xylitol is made from a tree fiber, and it can cause bowel disturbances. It's low glycemic, which is good. It's not going to spike your blood sugar, and it does help prevent tooth decay. So there's some positive things about xylitol. Okay, so I've kind of gone through all the sweeteners with you. Now I kind of want to talk about something that we call the carbohydrate continuum. Now, I have to credit my wonderful teacher and the founder of Functional Nutrition Alliance. So if you go online and you go to functionalnutritionalliance.com, you will find information about the Functional Nutrition and Lifestyle Program that Andrea Nakayama offers, and that is the program that I pursued. But this is something that she made available to me as a practitioner. It's a certified practitioner, and it's called the Carbohydrate Continuum. And this handout you will find on my website. So you can go to either my personal website, which is healthyparentshappyfamilies.com. That's healthyparentshappyfamilies.com. That's my personal website. Or you can go to my team website. I work with a team of beautiful women, and we all share our gifts to help others to regain health or find health in body, mind, and spirit. So you could find the handout called the Carbohydrate Continuum, which came from Andrea Nakayama. God bless her. Thank you, Andrea, for providing this for me. But I'm going to post this handout on both websites. So when you watch this video presentation on sugar and sweeteners, please feel free to access the handout. What we need to understand is that blood sugar equals glucose in the blood. And every carbohydrate that you eat, every piece of bread, pasta, bagel, cake, cookie, muffin, fruit, vegetable, beans, grains, This all ends up as glucose in the blood. Now, glucose is the most basic form of sugar, and it's required by all of our cells for energy, and our brain even needs it. Our red blood cells need it. It's only, glucose is the only form in which sugar can be transported directly into our bloodstream. All other forms or chains of sugars, otherwise known as carbohydrates, need to be broken down by our digestive system. And then they have to be converted into glucose that feeds our cells. Now, simple carbohydrates, I am going to talk a few minutes about simple carbohydrates because this is what sweeteners and refined sugar, that's what it is. It's simple carbohydrates. The simple carbohydrates have fewer sugar molecules bound together. These are your white foods, like your refined foods, like white sugar or white potatoes. Those are a couple of examples. They're digested very quickly, and that means they move into your bloodstream very rapidly. Refined sugars are simple carbohydrates, and they're not good for us because they spike our blood sugar. Yet whole foods like potatoes and juices, remember, they can be simple carbohydrates too. So we have to be very careful about our consumption of refined carbohydrates because that spikes our blood sugar. And you do that over and over again throughout your lifetime, and by the time you're in your 50s, sometimes earlier, you can end up as a type 2 diabetic. And we don't want that. We're trying to avoid that. Then we have complex carbohydrates. Now, complex carbohydrates have many sugars bound together in branching strands, and the many branches slow the digestion of sugars. Complex carbs, excuse me, are usually packed with fiber, vitamins, and minerals that accompany the chains of sugars. So examples of these kind of carbohydrates would be green vegetables. Yeah, there's carbohydrates in green vegetables. Whole grains, legumes, those are your beans. Those would be examples of complex carbohydrates. And our body digests those much differently. They don't cause the sugar spikes, the blood sugar spikes in our body. Now, glycemic, you heard me mention the word glycemic in some of the slides I just showed you. Glycemic means causing sugar in the blood. And the glycemic index and glycemic load were developed to speak of the issue of carbohydrate digestion and how it works, how quickly the foods break down into sugar or glucose in our body. Now, we prefer to utilize the model presented by the glycemic load rather than the glycemic index. The load considers the amount of rapidly absorbable carbohydrate, the starch or the sugar in the food, as well as the glycemic index. So you want to always look for the glycemic load, like what it's doing to your body. If you isolate the sugars in a carrot, as a glycemic index does, they're quite high. But if you consider the rate at which these sugars in a carrot are absorbed due to all the fiber in the carrot, as the glycemic load does, the absorption of sugars is very low or very slow. So this is what we want. We want slow absorption of sugar for more sustained energy, weight management, and overall health. So ask yourself, what do you typically eat for breakfast? Is it something sweet, sugary, maybe a bowl of refined, like sugary cereal, or a bagel? You know, these things, white flour and white sugar products, even our cereals, because they're refined, our cold cereals, they're going to bring they're going to spike our sugar, our blood sugar, when we eat them. You also could ask yourself some more questions like, are there particular times of the day when you really feel like you need a sweet or a treat, like maybe for breakfast or at 4 in the afternoon or right after dinner, those are signs that your body is spiking your blood sugar. You're craving the sugars. Your body needs the sugar. You eat the refined sugar, and it spikes your sugar. And then you have a plummet, and you feel tired not long after that. This is what we want to be really mindful of and really careful about. And that is why stevia is just so awesome. And raw honey, but limited amounts of that. Because the stevia is a non-nutrient, and it does not spike blood sugar. So if it works for you, the flavor works for you, awesome. There's no bitter aftertaste. I will say, though, be careful about the stevia products you purchase, because stevia can be mixed with erythritol, which is a corn product, and that can be highly refined, and it can be non-GMO. It can be GMO, usually is GMO. We want to stay away from that when it has the erythritol in it, unless it's an organic erythritol, and even then, be careful about how much you use. Do you experience anxiety, panic attacks? Do you have trouble sleeping? All of those can be signs of blood sugar spikes. So, struggling with weight, with allergies, food sensitivities, ADD, ADHD, do you find it difficult to get out of bed in the morning? If you eat something refined carbohydrate with your evening meal, or after you eat your evening meal, it can cause a lot of brain fog. You wake up the next morning and you can barely get moving. You just don't have any energy. So one of the things I do as a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner is I work with people one-on-one to teach them how to balance their blood sugars, to improve their digestion so they don't end up having spikes in their blood sugar, and they can get more nutritive value out of their foods. And I also have a really good discussion with them, and then I educate them on cortisol, blood sugar, balancing blood sugar, elimination, digestion, sleep. Sleep is very important, and I'm guilty of depriving myself of sleep for many years. I always had a lot of energy, and I still do. Praise God, because I want to keep going. I have lots to do. I'm 63 years old, but I have lots to do. But I would go to sleep long after everyone else. I would stay up. I was a night owl, and I was burning the candle at both ends, because I would stay up till 11:30, 12 o'clock, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I would get up at 6 a.m. My biological alarm clock wakes me up at 6 a.m. So it's kind of catching up with me a little bit. So I'm trying to get to bed a little bit earlier at night, maybe 10, 11 o'clock at the latest. So sleep is crucial. And a lot of moms, especially with young kids, they have a hard time getting sleep. Lack of sleep, they have found in studies, spikes your blood sugar in the morning. You wake up, your morning blood sugars are higher than they should be. So I try to help moms, especially moms with younger kids, to find ways to help their kids sleep, and then to help them get a better night's sleep. So I encourage you to go to my team website, and that is healthfamilylife.com. Once again, healthfamilylife.com. You can read more about my story that I shared and see the picture of my beautiful big family, 11 children, and 7 of them married, and 19 grandchildren and counting. You can look at that. And you can also learn more about my team members that I work with. Beautiful women, beautiful Catholic women, love to share hope with others. I've been working with these women for many years. You can learn about them. You can learn about the products that we work with, more information about that. You can learn a little bit more about functional nutrition. There's a page about functional nutrition and lifestyle there. And we have a page with free workshops, which is, of course, where you're going to find this video, this webinar video. And we also have a blog page where I will be posting, as I said, the handout that goes with this workshop about sweeteners. So be sure to check that out. And there's also an awesome business opportunity for those who are interested in joining our team. So my website, once again, is healthyparents.happyfamilies.com. That's healthyparents.happyfamilies.com. And my team website is healthfamilylife.com. And feel free to leave your contact information at either one of those websites. And if you'd like to have a free consultation with me to see if I can help you with your nutrition and your lifestyle, help you improve your health and body, mind, or spirit, I am here for you. And you can access my calendar to set up an appointment for a free client consultation. That's going to be 15 to 20 minutes of time that I spend with you, just kind of exploring your interests. And if you like my services, if you'd like to meet any of my team members, or if you're interested in perhaps joining our team, So I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope this information that I've shared with you will be helpful to you. God bless you.